Hello, Jamie from Inky and Scrappy, sharing with you today a pop-up video from my video on doing a platform pop-up with the Swish-N-Pop integrated into the middle. And that video, actually, I end up making it into there's like a free pivot on the end of it, so my bear stays standing up, which took me a little bit of time to get it to work just right to start with. But I'm just right now just folding everything, so I will have all the pieces folded, and I always put adhesive on right after I fold them. To me, it just makes sense, because if I'm going to ink blend, I would need that to dry before I could apply that adhesive, and so I just have gotten into the habit to put that on as soon as I'm done folding them. It works well for me. So about this video, I've had a couple of requests about doing them in real time, just because it is a process, and to watch it, I will watch stuff a couple of times to figure it out and then replay if I need to. But this is in real time. It's in my voice. My voiceover is actually not a voiceover. I voiced it and explained it as I was doing it. And so hopefully it explains how I got it. And if there's any questions, please let me know. I did add a few text notes, because as I was doing it, I had to switch a few things up that didn't work out as I was hoping they would work out. So without much ado, so I have all of my pieces ready. I'm just making sure everything is ready to go, and grabbing my mini brads here for the mechanism, and I will let my actual instruction play from here on out. So thanks for watching. Okay, so to start this one, we're going to do, this is the top, and we're going to line that up along, getting that as close to the bottom as we can there. So if you line it, fold it, line it up like that, make sure it's flush against the side, and then I will take this to the die cut machine. So I have everything else ready to go. It's all folded. It's not put together yet. So we'll start with this piece. This is the back side of our platform pop-up. So when it's together, it's going to look like that. And we're going to put, I haven't decided how this one is going to go. Pop out those plastic, or the little bit of plastic that's stuck in there yet. Okay. And it didn't cut all the way through, so I'm just going to snip off the little part that was still attached there. So I have this piece. I know you can't see it because it's, there we go. And we're going to start by putting this one in here, lining that up. And I know it's going to work in the second position for sure on here. I don't know if I want to start. I'm going to try to do it this way without putting it together, because I'm thinking it'll be closed up. Okay. So that one's there, the first one. The second hole, I am going to try this one in the first hole, because I want it to be a fairly good sized jump. And my thought process, so this was my original idea before I tried the last one, the first one that I did with this die, because I haven't actually ever used it before that first one. And so I wanted to make sure that it was going to do what I wanted it to do without putting in the extra effort to try to figure out how to get this one to
stay put. So I've done this technique on a reveal wheel where you cut a bigger circle and then your image will stay straight up and down, like straight up and down. It'll stay this way on the card as it rotates around. And so I kind of want my little Paddington, I based it off of Paddington Bear because, you know, he's got the little umbrella and he's up in the air in one of those images. So my thought is that I can put him here and then I can pop him up and keep him at a pivot point. So depending upon where I place that pivot point on this sheet will really depend on where he pivots. So I need him to start over here and then he will come up and rotate. And I don't know if I want him to go past that. I will put some foam adhesive down to stop that movement. And I'm thinking, so now that I know that this first one is going to work with what I'm imagining, because I want him to come up a fairly good ways. And so I'm going to put, whoops, let's try this again. Let's put him back on here. I'm going to start him over here. And I'm thinking here is where I'm going to want him to, I'm going to make a mark on the back of this. And if you're not doing, you know, extra, like I'm doing extra, you don't have to worry about that so much, but I'm going to be making a little swivel piece in there. So I kind of know where I want him. Oh, I didn't mark it on the other one, so that's really going to be helpful for me at the moment. Okay, so I want him here, I'm pretty sure. So I know he's starting here, so I can put adhesive up too. And I pre-cut some of the Big Mama foam tape in strips, or it's what's left from the last one, but I want to do a small piece on the top here. And this is a full width Big Mama, you know, it's the skinnier one. Probably close to the scrapbook adhesive, really thin ones, most definitely. Thinner than 3M foam tape. And so I'm going to cover up those first, the farthest two, hole 3 and 4, because I don't need it to go past this point, because I want my bear to stay on the platform, but I want him to move. And really I can do some temporary adhesive. I don't think I have actual temporary adhesive. So I'm actually going to put the adhesive on the front side of him because I'm going to use this piece as a stabilization piece, so I don't want tape on the back side. And so if we start him here, and I'm just going to put that here. So then, I mean, my piece is going to work different, but that gives me the range of motion that I'm going to need. So you got to picture that as that, and then I want him to end up about here for height wise. And so I'm going to put a skinnier piece of that Big Mama foam tape here as it's going to help stabilize. This is not, I did this on my last one, but I did it after the fact, like after it was all together, and I don't think I got that on camera. Sometimes I forget to push record. I'm bad at that. So this will go here, and that's really not, I mean, it'll stop there, but that'll be fine. Oops, we're getting stuck here. So we'll start here, and then we're going to go through here. So I should be able to put a very thin piece along the bottom here. I don't think that one's going to be thin enough. Where's my other piece? Do you have that problem too? I just used it. I lose it. It's right in front of me. It's inevitable. Alright, I'm going to cut this one down a little bit more. And I just use a scrap piece of adhesive, like the adhesive backing, so it doesn't stick to my scissors. Otherwise, I'm constantly undo gluing them because they just get stuck together constantly. Like even my one pair of nonstick scissors is, you know, a little on the older side. And it's worn away the nonstick coating by the blades, and so it doesn't work the greatest there. Okay, so this gives me movement, and it will stop from here to there, but it's not going to impede this or that. So just making sure that's thin enough and that it's not going to impede. And a little bit of, I mean, that foam tape is very, very thin, but it just gives it a little bit for that brad to move a little bit, and that mechanism to move a little bit more smoothly. Once it's together, it does move a little bit rougher the first few times. I don't know. I played with mine so much that it went together just fine by the time they got it, and then they played with it a lot too, so it didn't really matter. And then I'll just fill in the rest here. Trying to use up some of those scraps. Of course that didn't work. Okay. Okay, we won't use that one then. So we should be fairly good there. Maybe I can get a little piece in there yet. That should seal up the whole bottom part. So since I have this together this way, I think I should be good to add my other stuff. On this one, I'm not going to do anything else in the middle. So the other side isn't going to have any other piece on it. It's just going to be this piece here. I just want the bear standing in, you know, on the platform. He doesn't need to be behind anything on this one or in front of anything. So I'm just going to leave him be. And then we will start with this one. And this will be my front. And make the jump, go up and over. So we have this one here. And it's easier for me to put these on before I have it together. And this paper was super thin, so I ended up gluing. I did the adhesive runner and then I put it on a thicker piece of cardstock and then die cut it out, because there was no way it was going to be strong enough to stay up in as the hills. So it just gave it a little bit more stability. I didn't have to worry about lining it up once I was that far. And so it kind of saves you a little bit of a headache in the end by planning ahead there. Of course my glue's not going to work. That would be like a plan, right? Okay, so I have a thin line of glue. And I just want to be careful not to get that glue on the other part of the platform, just on that tab. And you could just put the glue on that little T-piece there. I just put it on the hill. And making sure your front is on your front. So when I did this card with Nanny, the pop-up, well, I didn't do this one, but I did a platform flap-up. And I did hers right, and then I put the adhesive on mine wrong. And I had to do card surgery because I didn't have any extra pieces cut because I was not at home. And so now we're going to do this one. So we're going to leave that as is all together. It's not going to matter for this portion of it. Just when we get to the point where we have to put them together. Oh, and it helps if you do the T-piece on there beforehand. And the other part with the T-pieces, if your adhesive, I noticed that my Nanny's adhesive was older, and it might not have been scrapbook.com. I don't, you know, it was an off-brand whatever adhesive, and it didn't stick the greatest, and it gave away. So I did end up going in with my glue on my finger and putting glue on the tab, and then reasserting that T-piece after we had them all put together, because they kind of fell apart. I mean, they worked fine once I did that, so it wasn't a big deal, but that's one way you can wiggle in there, because yeah, I couldn't get the glue tip in there. I could only just put it on my finger and just wiggle it in there a little bit. It worked. We got it to work. It was all good. Okay, my other one here. And this one is going to go this way. And I kind of went with the brown because to me, when it's raining out, your ground is, you know, it's wet. It's, you know, muddy or brown or green grass, and you have, you know, the water on top of it. And I thought about doing the box in brown. Well, I really wanted to do it in this piece entirely, like this color paper, but that paper was just how shall we say, like computer paper, like regular just note paper thickness. It's not very thick. It's older, close to my heart stuff before they moved to their new, I have no clue what they have now, but when I quit they had the thicker, probably 65-pound cardstock, and this was not 65-pound cardstock. It was more of a, okay. So now we're ready to go from here and put this together. So we're going to do this one here. And we still have our mechanism here working just fine. I just wanted to make sure that my range of motion is where I need it to be. I moved my bear, so it's not going to be where I want it to be. And as long as I have this sticking out the side, and you know what, let me go and put a piece of tape on the back of this to make it a little bit easier. So I'm just going to do like a piece of washi tape, or in this case some highlighter tape, which I found really cheap on Amazon for a 6-pack. And it's low tack, so it doesn't stay stuck. Now the other part of this one is we're going to need a slit in this one. So this time I'm going to try. So you see where my paper is here and there, and I kind of can guess where I'm going to need that slit over here. And so before I stick this together, I think this is going to work better, and hopefully it keeps that support. So the last one I put a piece that kind of covered because I had cut the slit from the top the second time. And so if we do this way, so I need to keep a little bit of a tab on the top here and then on the bottom, so my tab has a little bit of wiggle room. And then I'm just going to go in, let's see if you can see this. So I just made a tiny little slit there, and I'm just going to cut off the fold. So it's super thin, and you might just be able to do a straight line down with it, but this one, see how it has just a little bit, I think you can see it, there you go, it has just that little bit there. And so when we do this one, I want to put, I'm going to have to wiggle this one in there, right? Okay. How did we do the last one that I did? Maybe, okay, I'm going to take this back off because I don't know if that's going to work or not. We will see. Do as I say, not as I do. No. Let's see if this works this way, and then we will see. Because it's in a different spot, the angle is going to be different. So I might end up moving it over to the second one. We will see. Because that looks like it's going to work there. And then my question is that going to stay? So I'm not going to be able to put adhesive up there. That's my fear from that one. So, alright. Well, let's not put adhesive there and hope for the best. Okay. So that goes there, this one goes here, let's pull this one up, this one up. Where are we at time? We're at 18 minutes, so let's see if I can trim out a little bit, but still keep it on task. Okay, so this one goes here, and because I want to make sure it sticks together, and I'm pretty certain that these pieces are absolutely fine where they're at, I am going to put a little bit of liquid adhesive there. Not a ton, just well, if I can get it out, just a little tiny bit. There we go. Just to make sure that it stays stuck together and doesn't pull apart. I have noticed that on my tabs here, that if I have a lot going on in the middle of my card, that it works better to have liquid adhesive holding them together, or if your adhesive isn't the strongest. So we are going to get everything stuck all up on me because that's how I roll. Okay, and we're just going to line this one up in the bottom there. And then we have the pull tab is through that little loop there, or that little edge there, and then I'm going to pull this one up. We're going to hope that this works. Come on. Come on, Gwen, you can do it. I must have a dry patch of glue in there or something. Okay. Sometimes in life we give up. Alright, so then there. And then this one will pop up. And it stays together fairly good there. And we get that swishing motion with it. So that is how you put the Swish and Pop into the platform pop-up box. And I will continue, so if you want to see the rest of this one get put together, it will be on the full video. This is just a pop-out of the video to show you in real time how I integrated that Swish and Pop into the platform pop-up box. Thanks!
I hope that was clear as mud for you, and thanks for watching again, and I hope you have subscribed.